this is I'll go into this for just a few minutes and have questions. This is one of my digital SLRs. Okay, they can get to be kind of expensive. Of course, that's what I do. So for the person like yourself may not want to invest in this kind of technology. I use this quite a bit. This is a little Canon G11. This does a phenomenal job, especially on landscape and architecture, and the detail is very good. It's got a little LCD thing in the back. It's got all the different settings. What I like about this particular camera is it has settings for indoor. All I have to do is hit indoor. You know, it's got auto, we didn't get into that. It's got video, it's got all kinds of things. So, and I'm going to send you a link of the top, they did a review recently of some of the top compact flash cameras that are out there. So there's like 10 or 12 of the top ones. So you'll get to do the reviews, see how much those things cost, what their features and benefits and things are. But these little things are amazing. To give you an idea, in probably about 1991, 1992, the first digital camera came out. It was 1,000 megapixels, okay, and it cost $5,000. Now, this is a 10, 12 megapixel camera. This is $499, but you know, you can get them 12 megapixel cameras for $150 now that do some phenomenal stuff, okay? And remember, equipment is one part of it, but you're really a big component because you're the person behind the camera controlling these images and whatnot. So these are just tools like anything else if you know the different things. Flash, we didn't get into that because I think that's more of a technical thing, and maybe that's the time for another day. But sometimes they need flash and stuff. My only recommendation, if anybody that likes to get into flash, these kinds of things, and doing them in homes, typically you want to try to bounce it off a 45 or 60 degree angle, not shoot straight on. You want the light to kind of cascade and be soft when you're doing that. And then this here, like I said, is a wide angle lens that really gets a lot in, but you know, the closer you get in, the more distortion that you're going to get. So, and we all know about the smartphones. And then I think one thing that's going to be interesting, I don't know, you guys probably know better than I do about this, but this is a little flip high definition video. So video is going to become more and more important and stuff like that. So I don't know how that's going to play into your future, into the MLS listings and things of that particular nature. But video is going to become more and more important. As we all know, YouTube is owned by Google. Okay, they put up more video in just like 30 days than the three networks have done in 60 years. And it's just amazing what's out there on video. So video is becoming more and more popular. Smartphones can do video now, so that may play a role in the future for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to market and sell. And that's a whole other animal.
What is something like that?
This one here, they don't make it. Cisco first came out with this. This is a high definition, $149. It has 2 hours of recording time, 2 hours of battery life. I mean, it's a powerful little thing. And it's got a little USB port right here. I just put it in the USB and then upload it to YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. I've done these now for a couple of years with this little thing. It's just a handy. And they got, Kodak has them, Sony has them. So the only drawback to those, the quality is good, but the audio, like if Nikki's back there, she may not, and I'm trying to record Nikki from here and she's talking, the audio may not be as good on the little smaller ones versus what Bob is doing with that video camera back there. So, but questions as we get here, wrap up. Yes, ma'am.
When I take my photos, I'm having problems with spots all in the photos. How can I eliminate those spots?
Those spots are what we call dust on the sensor. Okay? Those are pesky little things, okay? There's two ways that you could do that. You know, my wife says I had a mechanical bypass as a child, so when it comes to trying to do stuff, so you can either try to do it on your own and learn, but you're going to be messing up the sensor, or I'm going to give you a link to, or the address. Memphis Photo Supply is a local camera. Buzzy owns it. His great-grandfather started it in 1906. And they're local, and I like to try to support local as much as I possibly can. They're off of Aaron Drive in Poplar. And great people, very knowledgeable, him and Tom, the manager. And so when I have those spots, which I do, I take it over to them, and then they clean it. You know, and it could be somewhere around $40 or so, so it's not inexpensive, but it's worth me taking it to them because I don't want to mess up or scratch the sensor. Once you scratch the sensor, then you're going to see that scratch on every image that you take going forward. So, so I would do that.
What's up when you take a picture every now and then, and I can't remember if it's on the camera or if it's just when you actually look at it on the image, the roof looks like it's got swirls in it. I know I can't be on one.
No, that's we're talking about that. You know, that happens with patterns of jackets, or you start seeing that. That's part of the digital camera itself in the image. So,
how can you avoid that? I mean, it just happens sometimes, and sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes depending on where the light is falling. What I would do in that particular situation, I would try to take that image at a different time of day and see if it does that. It may be the pattern, and the sensor may be getting confused with the pattern, but it also may be the way the light is falling on that particular pattern on the roof, and it may cause those, because those light waves may do, and the heat may be coming up and causing some of that distortion as well.
Put a polarized lens up.
Polarized lens, yeah, could possibly help with that. I haven't seen any polarized. These, what he was talking about is this goes on, it screws on the end of this camera, not a compact. They may have some out there. I have not seen this. This works great for cutting down glare and stuff on water and on metallic surfaces and stuff. A polarizer is very good. But, and I'm sure some of these come out, they may already have it out, but I haven't seen it for your smartphone as an add-on, or for your compact flash to screw on to do that. But polarizers are very good for that. Good point. Yeah.
I use my smartphone, and it's got a couple basic settings, and one of them is picture resolution, and it goes from like widescreen to large, medium, small, and tiny, and it's like from 8 megapixels, I guess, to 1. Like what is
okay.
that? Like, what do you recommend?
That's a good point. What the question was, he uses a smartphone, and he's got settings on his camera that go from 8 megapixels down to 1, large and a widescreen. Okay, so it's a two-part question. So when you're taking it with a smartphone, always choose the larger image size, which is 8 megapixels. Okay, rather than the smaller. And the reason for that is it's going to give you more information. It's going to give you better color, clarity, and all that. Because megapixels, images in digital are made up of these little, what they call pixels. These little things. If you ever blown up an image and you see all these little things, those are what's made up of the image, or they call pixels. And so the more pixels that you have in your camera, the better typically, on average, it gets to be complicated, but the better on average the quality will be. So for example, if you have a 5 megapixel camera and somebody has an 8 on his smartphone like that, then 8 is going to be better than 5. Okay, it's going to give you more information, better clarity and all that on your particular image. So you want to always use, if you have that choice, use the higher setting on your smartphone. Then on yours on wide means you're just taking a wider shot than the normal shot. Okay. So when you choose wide on that, like if you're in a small area like a bathroom or something, you may want to experiment in and out using wide or whatever. But be cautious about the distortion. So do vertical, do horizontal, but that's what wide is for.
And it also has exposure, 0 and 1.
Okay, what exposure is on that particular one is it's changing the exposure. So for example, on some of these cameras, you can change your actual exposure. If you're on manual, you could overexpose the image or you can underexpose the image depending on the light situation. Okay. So that's what that's doing. So what I would recommend that you do is to try to experiment what that does. Is it giving you a brighter image by choosing that, or is it giving you a darker image by choosing that, so that you know how to use it in the situation? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You know that you're going to be emailing a lot of the photos. I've had problems with the capacity. Right. When you try to send a lot of photos that are shot at high resolution. And so, do you have any recommendations about? Yeah, I do. The question up front here is, he emails a lot of photos and he has high resolution, which means that the files are a lot larger. Typically, an email limit is 10 megabytes of information. And some files can be higher than that, or if you have 2 images, 3 images, depending on the resolution, could be. So then you can't, either your
emailing in 10, 20 batches, which is drive you crazy. Now there's a service out there called Dropbox, D-R-O-P-B-O-X, okay? It's a free service, and you can have up to 2 gigabytes for free, okay? So I would go out to just do a Google search for Dropbox and sign up and use that, and that way, you know, the person at the other end has to have Dropbox as well, and then you would put it into those images into there, and then they can go retrieve it right out of the Dropbox. So that's another way of getting around the emailing issue. So I do that with images as well. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know about the effectiveness of those items you said you could buy from Amazon for your
Oh, those are all pretty good. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried them?
Yeah, they're all pretty good. So like I said, the wide one or the fisheye one, like the lady in the back had mentioned, fisheye, when you see fisheye, have you ever seen these images that are really, really distorted? That's what fisheye is, because if you look at lenses, they're typically not flat, they're curved. So the wider the lens, the more curvature it's going to be, because it's trying to capture that information or that image in a wider area. So that's the only thing. When you start getting into the fisheye and all that, it's really tough, even in a small area, because it's going to look distorted like those images there. So that I would use with caution if you're going to use it at all.
So are you saying, though, that we could go in and straighten the walls with one of those programs?
Yeah, like Photoshop and whatnot.
Photoshop the full version or Photoshop
Elements, yeah.
Straighten the walls?
Pardon?
That's pretty
Yeah, you can.
Can you, with the elements, can you take the person out of the bathroom picture?
Yeah, you can do it.
Just the elements version?
Yeah, it's not as sophisticated, but yeah, you can do some cloning. There's a clone stamp tool in there that can do that. So and the challenge is in the photographic world, okay, as well, when we're all looking at other images, not aside from the homes or whatever, but is that real or is it not? You know, because you look at some and think, well, you know, what did they take out of there? So there's a battle going on in the photographic world between, you know, the purists, if you will. We take the image, we correct like Ansel Adams would be in the darkroom, you know, digital darkroom, we'll correct for exposure, light, color, those types of things, but we don't take out things, you know, and really distort the image from its originality. And then there's the creative group that argues with the purists, so, and that's always going to be the case probably. But I'm a big fan of Photoshop Elements. I mean, you can find it sometimes on sale for $69, $79 at Costco. It's a very, very powerful program. But some of those other free ones can do a pretty good job too, you know, without cloning. You know, they can do the basics, exposure, cropping, color adjustments and all that, like Fastone. That's a nice one.